Hello. I'd like to introduce you to these concepts concerning invisibility suits and televisual portals at the high tech end of the technological spectrum. Um, First off, I want you to consider an intersection of light, it's an intersection of a light ray, and this is that intersection, a point intersection. Imagine this to be a point. These are the intersections going both ways of light rays. Okay, that each light ray aligns with the light ray coming in and the light ray going out in every direction. I've only drawn 5 light rays, but there could be as many as pixel resolution as you want, but I'll get to that. The way to develop that is to drop this down, drop the smaller pixel, 3D pixel. This turns into a 3D pixel. You take this and you separate the two halves, and you drop the 3D pixel, smaller 3D pixel down, because it scales down with the distance from the outer 3D pixel. And these are all apertures of light that goes into the 3D pixel. And the light ray has to be the light wave that makes up the main part of the ray has to be smaller than the aperture to go through. Otherwise, it causes a diffraction and doesn't go through. But this is a counterpart to metamaterials. Metamaterials bend light. These intersect light. So it starts out as a point source or intersection of light, and you take the bottom half and you put it away for now. And then you take that center core, that 3D pixel that scales down with distance from the top, and there's a displacement. There's zero displacement from top to bottom, the light ray that goes from top to bottom. This is where I'm getting to the heart of it. Zero displacement. The light coming in equals the light going out in the same direction. But the distance plus the the distance from the top of the 3D pixel to its counterpart, inner 3D pixel, there is a larger displacement. If light was coming in this way, it would be the largest displacement, and it would have to go out this way. This is a mid-range displacement. Light comes in, it should go out this way, but instead it comes in, goes down, and comes out this way. That's a mid-range displacement. Then this ray, it goes in and it comes down right here. So it goes in and it should come out right here, but instead it comes out right here. So the distance is shorter as you move towards the zero displacement from the top ray to the bottom ray coming out. And the largest displacement is the length of the scaled down inner 3D pixel from the outer 3D pixel. This is the largest displacement, mid-range displacement, smallest displacement, and zero displacement. Okay, now the second part is to imagine that piece, that bottom 3D pixel with its smaller 3D pixel inside dropped up, and I didn't color it in because I didn't want to confuse the main part of this argument. But this bottom 3D pixel would complete the displacement. But another way that it works is that you take the 3D pixel the outer 3D pixel and the inner 3D pixel, same as right here, outer and inner, with their same bundles of wiring, optical wiring. And then you drop it down, and the counterpart of it is moved back, dropped up, the counter opposite direction of that one. And all the displacement is zero around this whole new point. It's something like a fractal point. It's no longer a point of intersecting light. It's a fractalized version of a point of intersecting light. It's a volume of a sphere, a spherical boundary that the light intersects. It's no longer a point. If you can imagine this being as small as a point, it's no longer a point, but it still has zero displacement. It's the same as a point. It's a fractal point. I call it a fractal point. And it could have any number of 3D pixels. And I found this at a hobby store, and I just made a photographic touch-up of it. There's the inner 3D pixels, and there's a breakaway view of the interface. This is what I call the light interface. And the whole thing itself, I call a light interface system. And this is responsible for both invisibility suits and televisual portals. But first, let me get to the boundary. Two boundaries exist. The boundary on the inner 3D pixel has to end at the aperture opening, has to be larger than the wave of light going through, because this is not metamaterial, this is geometric light optics. So the aperture has to be larger to let the light ray go through. That's the smaller bound. So the interface has a certain smallness it can get to, 3D pixelized. The outer surface has a different type of resolution. For it to produce invisibility, these 3D pixels have to be near, these outer 3D pixels have to be as close to a intersection point of light as possible. And that can only be achieved through lenticular screens, fly eye lenticular screens, spherical lenses, lenslets. But after there's only a certain largeness an invisible object can be made before the 3D pixel becomes impractical to produce the 3D resolution necessary to fool the eye and appear invisible, sending light rays. If the 3D pixel on the outside is too big, in correspondence with the scaling up from this inner 3D pixel, then it would obviously show the discrepancies between the rays. So there's an inner bound and an outer bound that needs to be respected in order to produce outside invisibility. The byproduct of this invisibility sending light through is, of course, the virtual reality inside of the outside environment. So this virtual reality I colored yellow, and that would be the breakaway view of this model that I had here. It would be the outside environment. This is the inverse byproduct of invisibility. And these I simply state with this that a point intersection of light is equal in some respects to a fractal point intersection of light. That they both have zero displacement. And all this technology leads to a light interface systems, invisibility, and holodecks. This is my proposal for a rotating aperture shell, 3D pixel units. It would have rotating apertures with LEDs sensing and receiving, hooked to smaller 3D pixels on the inside through bundles. they would rotate to follow a sort of fall where it may philosophy of sending light through the interface. You're not guaranteed that some places will hit twice in one position or not hit at all in others. And so this is a breakaway view of an invisibility suit with the light interface. It's shaped in the form of a puppet, an interior puppet. These are the outer and inner 3D pixels. And these are the light rays making their way through. Light going in, light going out. This is a breakaway view of and it has to be a sturdy, solid armor type suit. It can't be a flimsy scuba diving type inspired suit like you've seen on The Invisible Man, the movie, the recent one. It has to be something rigid to maintain the path of light going through, and the puppet moves in correspondence with the outer shell. And this is shown again, dual adaptive camouflage, cross-section of the invisible suit with puppet light interface inside. This is the light going in, light coming out, puppet light interface. This is a puppet light interfacing adaptable to itself on the inside. The suit's adaptable to the inside, or the inside is adaptable to the suit, as well as its outside environment. And the outside of the suit is considered part of the environment. And this is the environment. This is the suit with the puppet in the corresponding position, letting light fall where it may as it makes its way through the suit, as the puppet moves in sync with the suit itself. And this again is another photo creation I made of a sphere within a sphere. This is a general spherical invisibility with a holodeck inside, but I didn't make the breakaway view. The other thing that these discoveries produce is televisual portals. And this is a diagram I made of a televisual portals. A televisual portal. These are its sliding doors that open and close. And there's three interfaces to a puppet light, to a televisual portal that connects to the outside world through the cloaking interface. It's wired to the shell that you can't see of the spherical portal. And it's also connected to the real holodeck, where a person or object or any physical thing can commingle with the light. Starts from the real world, where light and matter exist, goes into the virtual cloaking interface, into the real holodeck, where physical can exist with virtual light information. Then it's transmitted over to the virtual holodeck, where it's inverted into its mirror form, so it can be transmitted to a distant televisual portal somewhere, wherever this cityscape is at. And they can go into their real holodeck and go into, well, here's a better picture of it. These are I call this the mirror world topology, because they alternate between a cloaking interface connected to the outside real world cloak interface, which is virtual. Down here, virtual. I messed up on these. I put no, I didn't. Here's a cloaking light interface, and they're virtual. And the real holodeck is here, so it goes from the real world to the virtual to the real world holodeck to a virtual holodeck where the light information is received. It's transferred over to the real holodeck where the virtual information is received again in the virtual holodeck and transferred over, and this goes back and forth into a dual televisual telepresence. And these orange figures are what I made for the telepresent people, Bob and Alice. Bob is here, and this is a virtual Alice. This is a virtual Bob, and this is an Alice, real Alice, through each other's holodeck. And this portal, this is another representation of a portal with the doors fully opened. This shows the cloaking light interface, which is only virtual, connected to the real world outside through the boundary of the Televisual portal. And this is the holodeck interface where physical and light information can mingle. And you got the real world where light and physical matter mingle. You got the virtual cloaking interface where only light exists. No obstructions should be in there, no physical obstructions. Then you have the physical holodeck, the real holodeck, light and matter. Then you'd have the virtual holodeck that takes in the information from the people inside to produce telepresence, dual televisual telepresence. And that they can exist in each other's holodeck through telepresence. And this is my toy model representations of these televisual portals corresponding to each other. This is the door to the real holodeck. This is its computer controls, whatever. This is the outside boundary. This is its inside cloaking interface. This is the real holodeck. This is the cloaking or the virtual holodeck that transmits over to the virtual holodeck of that one into its real holodeck, or it transfers over to the real holodeck, which transfers over to the virtual holodeck, and transfers back over to the real holodeck, and then transfers over to the virtual holodeck. And all the while it's maintaining a dual televisual telepresence through each one. Dual televisual telepresence that connects like a knot through space-time. These two televisual portals connect to each other. And this is what I'm trying to accomplish with my photographic portal model, is to line the background, line the pictures on my model, my 3D, my photographic portal model, with the background behind it. And I have to have all these lights on, and the lights on inside here, which I failed to do, and I have a model of the object that is supposed to turn virtual and be able to appear to float inside the holodeck in here as a photographic hologram of a virtual person. And I haven't gotten too far yet, but this is the inner holodeck, and I'm working on this. And if I can prove this, the photographic portal model, if I can prove this, where it lines up with the background at this alcove I made of the downtown riverfront, then maybe people would take me seriously with these discoveries that leads to invisibility suits and televisual portals. So, thanks a lot.